Ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness gracious, Alan, Wade, and Cindy Preston, they're about to come on and really teach you how to ignite and awaken, activate that magic within you to shift into your greatest possible self. Before we dive into that, if you are an entrepreneur, an influencer, you're getting your message out to the world. You're a purpose-driven entrepreneur and you want to expand that impact. You want to start a podcast. You want to launch your platform and make a bigger difference. Send me an email, chris@beergps.com. Let me know what you're working on. I'd love to support however I can. I love helping people launch their podcast. We do it within 90 days and we're going to be starting a new mastermind very, very soon to help people launch their podcast. So if you're interested in that, send me an email, chris@beergps, or find me on Facebook. Next up is the iTunes review of the week. And this week it's by Anthony A93. Anthony A says, Chris, the man burns. Every podcast episode gets better and better. Not only that, you can tell how present and interested Chris is in each of the experts he brings on the show. Thanks so much, Anthony. I appreciate you, man. If you want to give us a review, go to beergps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store, and you can give us a review like that. Let us know your feedback, what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can improve the show for you and make it even better. Thanks so much. Now, I'm going to introduce Alan and Cindy in just a second here. Before that, though, make sure you grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, be ready to take notes because they are going to share such powerful wisdom. Alan's been on the show before. He has an incredible story, and I know Cindy has a powerful story as well. So you really want to capture what was the wisdom, what was the lessons that they picked up along their journey that really made a difference for them. So make sure you stay tuned all the way through to the end because you never know what one idea can transform the rest of your life. Let's introduce them and then we'll bring them on the screen. Alan and Cindy are the creators of The Magic Within. They are coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors of the award-winning book, The Magic Within, How to Transform Your Life. The purpose of their company is to empower people to create the life they truly desire. TMW offers information, strategies, and tools that people can use in their daily lives to create transformational change. Alan and Cindy are dedicated to helping others achieve the life they truly deserve. And we're blessed to have them here with us today. Alan and Cindy, are you two ready to rock the house?
Of course, rock and roll.
Of course. That's the only answer I'd expect. Welcome to the show. You two are live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you for being here and just all the greatness that you're doing, activating, igniting, awakening that magic within people. You two are amazing human beings. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me again and having Cindy as well.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. We're going to start with this theme called Your Powerful Platform. And you two are creating this powerful platform called The Magic Within. And I want to hear in your own perspective, what does that mean to you, a powerful platform? How has that impacted you? We'll start with Alan. Alan, why don't you start with that question?
Well, it's kind of like you have to start somewhere. And if you're starting with a platform or a foundation, whatever words you want to do, you work from there. You work to build your house. You have to have a good structure, and for a powerful platform is, know what you want, know your message, and go from there. It's all the beginning, a foundation.
Yeah, I love it. Great response. How about you, Cindy? What's your perspective on a powerful platform?
Well, basically, the platform for me is a lot of the stuff we work with is stuff that we've experienced ourselves. And for me, the platform is learning that we all have our own inner magic and that it's not outside of us. And so for me, that platform is teaching people that they can do that as well and expanding on that piece. So
yeah, that's that. We've been having that theme a lot today of like your story is what gives you a platform. You have your own unique experiences, you have your own wisdom, your own journey, and you get to leverage that and make a difference with it for people. So I think you two are just a powerhouse team, such a dynamic duo. I shared a little bit more about what you're doing and what you're up to in the intro, but in your own words, why don't you share what you're up to, what your clients come to you for, what's your stand in the world?
Well, for us, we use our education and our lived experience to help other people.
Mm.
There's so many people that think magic or happiness or everything is out external, and we've learned over the years, with our clients and being taught by my kids that true happiness comes from within. Yeah, my kids, they
They're the
gave me
great
some
teachers, aren't they?
lessons. That's, well, yeah, they are actually. Don't tell them I said that, though.
It's our secret.
Yeah. No, so many people think happiness comes from outside, and
Mm.
we found out a long time ago that it's within you. And if you are happy with and grateful to get up in the morning, that is the key right there.
Mm. Mm.
The,
That's powerful.
the most powerful message I can give anybody is find your happiness because it's within you.
Mm. Mm. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And Cindy, what would you say is your perspective on how you stand for people and how you serve them best?
I would say the way I serve people the best and how I stand for people is I serve them from my heart. And when I work with people, it's come from a very loving and compassionate place, knowing that, we're all trying to do our best. And sometimes, life hits us hard. And so that's where it is. It comes from my heart. It comes from me trying to give them everything I can to help them find their own inner magic and their inner power. Because, when stuff happened to me, I had to pull from a place inside me that I didn't even know existed and to get through it. And that's what I want to give other people is you can find that within and, really empower them with that
Yeah.
message.
Yeah, that's great. And we've interviewed Alan before. He had a great story. I'm sure we'll touch on that again, Alan, in this interview, just to catch people up if they didn't catch that last interview. But Cindy, I really want to dive into your journey because you're mentioning, like you didn't even know you had this capacity within you. So let's go back on your journey and talk about how did you discover the magic within you. Take us back and share about what you learned, the wisdom that you gained on your journey.
Well, basically, when just to give you a bit of a idea, what happened to me was in 2010. My father was in a police shootout, and he was the shooter, and he was called by the media a cop killer, and that wasn't who he was. He had lost himself. He was really struggling with a difficult time in his life, and he just literally. I don't even know how to explain it, but he forgot who he was. My dad was very gentle and kind, and anyway, something happened to him. He mentally definitely needed help, and for me, that was a huge shock and a lot of trauma to deal with that. And during that whole process, I had to find a place within me to know I can get through this, and it was hard, and I had to really lean on a lot of the stuff I had learned through my years of being a therapist, and my spirituality was huge. It's the thing that got me through it, I'd say, the most, and tapping into that and people around me. So from that experience, I just learned so many lessons that I wanted to give other people and help them realize that, when life literally hits you hard, it's like I call them the life changing moments
Yeah.
that you can either become bitter or better. And I
Mm.
decided to become better. And that's what I wanted to share with others.
Mm. So
So,
what was that really like for you when you're dealing with your dad on one hand is this incredible man, gentle, kind, loving, and everything outside of you is saying to the contrary. It's like the truth, but there's so much that life is trying to confront you with almost that is to the contrary. How did you respond to that? How did you persevere through that?
well, it was hard at first because um, I was quite angry actually at the media because they
Mm.
didn't find out the real true story of my dad.
Yeah.
Ironically, we live in a small town, so they went through our town and interviewed apparently over 100 people, and not one person said anything negative about my dad,
Wow.
which showed his true character.
Mm.
So I knew in my heart who my dad was, and a lot of people did too. So it was very hard because at first, as I said, I was angry because I wanted people to know who he really was, and I
Mm.
couldn't get that out there. But after a while, I had to just sit back and say, am I going to continue to suffer over this?
Mm.
Because it's not worth it. And I had to make a decision. You know what? I got to let this go. And that was actually one of the reasons why we wrote our book.
Mm.
What my intention was to tell the world he wasn't the man they portrayed him to be. He was a man in heartache and in crisis, and he
Mm.
needed, help. And instead, something else happened. And I wanted, to the world to hear that. So when I finally decided I got to let this go, I forgave myself, I forgave him, I forgave everybody involved. And it
Mm.
was such a relief to just do that process. And then that's where I started to really go inside and find my own magic to get through it.
Yeah,
So
this is great. So I want to hear from Alan. Alan, at what point did you come in this transformational journey in this process and supporting Cindy in discovering that magic within her?
Well, I met Cindy. It was probably 4 years or 3 years after that, and
Mm.
she was already a shining light at that time. Her energy and love was. She's got a massive, massive heart, and if you knew Cindy, she wants to help everybody. And when we had that opportunity to write that book, and Cindy was telling her story, I know she wanted people to hear that story, the true side of the story that many times doesn't get reported.
Yeah.
But she also wanted to share all of her experiences and all the tools she used to get her to the place where she is now.
Mm.
The forgiveness part, and for me, I seen her light the minute we met, so it was pretty obvious she was a very special person, and yeah, I lucked out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Cindy, did you see any specific way that Alan helped to be the catalyst to be able to share the story, transmute the pain, to be able to make a bigger difference for both of you?
yeah, oh, absolutely. Alan was a rock for me
Yeah.
when I first met him. I was, I had gotten over a lot of the anger, but there was still a lot of sadness and fear, um, within me.
Mhm.
And Alan was a rock for me. He got me through that part. So he was very much a catalyst in my transformation.
Mm.
And if it wasn't for Alan, I would have probably never written my book,
Mhm.
our book. But because he kind of pushed it. He literally went to the back of the room and signed the forms and came back and said, "You're writing a book." That's the way he rolls. And
Man.
so I said, "Well, I'm kind of nervous about this. Will you do it with me?" So we did it
Yeah.
together.
Wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
And you both have very charged, emotionally charged stories, there's like intense. And Alan, if you want to catch people up on your journey, you did it in the last interview, but just a brief overview of what was your trauma and how did you recover from it? We'd love to hear that.
Sure. I was in a church when I was 10 years old. I was grabbed from behind from somebody in that church, dragged off, and raped while I was in that church. The difference in the story from Cindy and I was I allowed the sadness, the blame, and the shame
Mm.
to rule my life to the point where at 16, 6 years later, I was without hope, and I put a gun in my mouth, and I pulled the trigger, and you know the great universe, God, made sure that I didn't do that. I had
Mm.
work to do, and
Yeah.
in His wisdom, He said, you got to be here. But I also went on for 12 years in anger, and it wasn't till I was 27 when I started the journey of, what, it's time to forgive, like Cindy did in her journey. And it's really pivotal to the point where forgiveness is for yourself. Like when I was forgiving myself for everything that I had done and for everything that I had blamed myself for. And yeah, that was pivotal. It would have been nicer if I'd have got it a lot faster, but you know what? Sometimes um, things happen for a specific reason, right?
Mm.
And today, now I can look back at that and be grateful for everything that happened because it's put me on this journey, and I get to hang out with you again in an interview. So yeah, yeah,
I love it. And this is so important, sharing your story to be able to impact people. You know, it takes a lot of courage to be able to own that story and then to start to share it with people so that it really makes a difference and it helps them discover their magic within. How did you know that, really harnessing your story would be the catalyst to serving people and helping them activate that magic within? When did you learn that was your truth? We'll start with Cindy. How did you learn that, it would really make a difference for other people?
I think that I realized that when I thought, there's other people in the world who are suffering some kind of trauma, some kind of heartache that at that time could be all consuming, and not knowing how to move forward and just kind of feeling stuck in their grief and sadness or anger. And I knew that there's a lot of people out there, and I got through it. So I want to share that with other people so they know there's hope, and
Mm.
that they can get through it and they're not alone. And there's a better life coming. You just have to keep going and reach within and find that inner power, that strength that's there that they sometimes forget they have, and to pull in different things that could help them, such as meditating or spending time with animals, nature, whatever that is that feeds their soul, right?
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to share that because I know there are people that really need to hear it.
Mm.
So
Good. That's
yeah.
amazing. And Alan, what about you? When did you know that you had to share your story? You had to turn that pain into making a difference for others.
well, for me, it was like the universe again walked up and said, "Today's the day you're going to actually start sharing that story." I was an addictions counselor. I had no plan to be honest, I had no plan to tell anybody about it because it was an embarrassing for this big, strong guy to admit this pain and this terrible trauma that he went through. But I was standing in front of the clients at this addictions place, and I just looked up. I just said, you know what? I know what it's like to be mentally, physically, emotionally, and sexually abused. And suddenly I realized I was nearly 50 years old, and I actually said the words out loud. I had never told anyone what happened nearly 40 years earlier, right? And what I found after that was the clients were much more open about their own abuse, and they would come
Mm.
to me, and they would. It was like I opened the door for them, and it made them realize that, well, if this guy can say something like that, well, I can say what I have to say too. And it just worked out that that day when I did what Cindy said, walked back, signed up to write this book.
Mm.
She said, "Well, you want to help me?" And I thought, well, I think it's time to put it in a book and just let it out there and see who it can help and who it reaches. And yeah, it was kind of like I was told it's time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time to step up your level of influence
Yeah.
and responsibility of your power of your voice. You two are so well developed in your mindset, in your paradigm, in your consciousness, in being able to serve people. Like a lot of people out there are being selfish with their gifts, and I really acknowledge both of you for not being selfish, for being generous, for being a light in the world, and you're able to inspire and heal and serve people in a really, really big way. And we have Lorraine who's in the audience, and she said, "Kudos, Alan, for sharing your trauma. Moving forward is what I'm all about. Same to you, Cindy. You guys rock." So she also said, feed your soul. I love it. So you two are doing some amazing things in the world. And as far as the teachings of the magic within, I think we talked about it a little bit with you, Alan. So we're going to start with Cindy as far as what you really want people to get with this magic within. What are the principles that we can talk about and be able to teach people today on this interview? What exercises can they be doing? Let's start with the foundation. What do they need to know?
You need to know. Well, basically, I think the biggest thing is they are the magic.
Mm.
It's not right. They are the magic, and and tapping into who they are and finding those parts of themselves that um, give them their strength. And for me, I shared in the book things that work for me that might work for someone else and maybe not. But for me, a lot of it was changing my perception of what happened to me,
Yeah.
right? And looking at it in a different way and starting to look at, some of the benefits of it instead of always staying in a victim mindset and feeling like life's out to get me. So changing my perception was huge. And I think that's really huge for all of us in anything in life, is looking at it in a different way that's empowering for us and helps us to grow instead of staying in a victim mode. So that's a huge one right there.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes along with thoughts and beliefs. We do a lot of work with people and their thinking and their beliefs, their paradigms, whatever you want to call it, and help them overcome that. We actually have a model for our program now called HOPE, and H stands for happiness. How can you find happiness and purpose and joy and peace in life? And O is for obstacles. We help people remove those obstacles through the coaching. And P is programming and paradigms, and how can you change those paradigms so you can move forward. And then E is evolving to a different level and coming out a much beautiful, blossoming person and starting on your new journey with a new story. So that's
cool.
kind of my thoughts about that.
So amazing. I love that. And I love the HOPE acronym. And just to recap, it's happiness, really helping people discover what is it that makes them happy. What is success for them? The obstacles, there's going to be obstacles. How do you get those out of the way? How do you build I'm sure we'll get into mindset, program, and paradigm in the next one, but build the resiliency. How do you build a thought process, just a behavior, a habit of overcoming, breaking through obstacles, dissolving them, moving them out of the way? That's something that they can really, our audience and people who work with you, they can work with you on that. And then the programming, the paradigm, that's like all those past limiting beliefs and thought processes. That's what gave us our current level of circumstances and current reality, current results, is because of the thought process that's got us here. I think Albert Einstein says the level of thinking that got you here or that created the problem is not the level of thinking that will be able to solve it, because you have to grow in your thought process, and especially the last word, which is evolve. You really get to evolve into your greatest possible self to be able to receive all the abundance, all the gifts of life. You two must have had some serious evolution go on as you owned your voice, as you owned your message, as you own this platform that you have. I know for me, I've had to seriously, break myself apart, melt myself down, turn myself into ashes, and like the phoenix, be reborn to this guy who's with us today. Because without doing that, I wouldn't be here. So it's really beautiful what you're doing. Alan, did you want to add anything about what Cindy said or about the magic within in the book that you think is important part of it?
The important part of the magic within that book is for people to realize they are so special. I don't know what the odds are of even being conceived, like 1 in a billion. And then you think about it, there's almost 8 billion people on this planet, but there's only one of them, one of you, one of Cindy, one of myself. How special is that? And we want to empower people to realize, you know what? It's all in here. Everything you need, you have the power. You are so special, so powerful. Your thinking can change the world around you. And you know what? what that book is all about.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, Cindy, what is one of the most common obstacles or blocks or limiting thinking that you find people having when you're working with them? And is there any exercise in particular that you recommend that makes the biggest difference or a really big difference for them?
Probably the biggest one is they don't feel worthy and deserving of a better life.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing that we've come across. And
Mm.
one of the first things we do in our coaching program is the person has to say regularly, like daily, over and over, "I am worthy," and to
Yes.
start changing that thought system,
Yeah.
right? That belief system. So that I think is probably the one of the biggest ones that we see the most
Mm.
is that. And we do have some other techniques that we use with our NLP
Mhm.
training that helps people overcome that too, which is kind of hard to explain, but we do other ones too. But that's the biggest one is just reaffirming,
Mhm.
you are worthy, you deserve this, and by not feeling worthy and not feeling deserving, you're robbing the world of your gifts.
Mm. Mhm. What is it
So
that is at the root of that unworthiness? Where does that belief come in? Like what's your experience with that? When do people pick that up?
I think a lot of times it's in childhood,
Mm.
depending on the messages they get from their parents, the environment they live in. It's not in every case. For us, we have a history with working with addiction and mental health.
Yeah.
So a lot of people with addiction issues have a lot of worthiness issues. They really want to stop using, and they try and they
Mm.
can't, and then they feel ashamed of themselves. And then they promise their family, "I'll stop tomorrow," and then
Mm.
tomorrow they drink or use again, and that just really kicks them down, and a lot of shame, and then that unworthiness, and they've done things in the past that really feel bad about, and so that's just all hanging over them, so it really affects them, their willingness to feel deserving and worthy of
Mm.
anything good. So that also takes a huge part of them feeling unworthy.
Yeah. So it sounds like
So
they have to build themselves back up because if they don't see themselves as worthy, then they'll say, I'm unworthy. I can't do this. It's impossible. I'm not strong enough. I'm powerless. I'm a victim. They probably wouldn't say I'm a victim, but what we know is going on. And they stay stuck there instead of really saying, I'm worth it. I'm going to change something. I'm going to do something different because there's people who are counting on me. I deserve better. I deserve love. I deserve abundance and prosperity. So you're saying that a lot of people don't feel like they really deserve that and they haven't put that foundation of worthiness in place.
Yeah. No, I agree totally. You said it just about 5 minutes ago. You had to break down and rebuild yourself. So many people are affected by the environment that they're in,
Mm.
environmental, the emotions, TV, friends, family, whatever it is, and they get it in their head that. Doing self care. Well, that's selfish, and
Mm.
putting myself first. Oh, that's just ego. And
Mm.
you know what? It's better to help everyone else. And when you told yourself 1,000, 10,000 times that the rest of the world's more deserving than you, where's your self worth? It's down at the bottom, right? And I'm surprised every day that how many people have self-worth problems, and
Mm.
they don't see themselves worthy of spending money on themselves. They don't see themselves worthy of taking care of themselves, but yet they'll jump to help somebody else, right?
Mm.
So yeah, it's all in the beginning. They're like a sponge. They're absorbing information, but they don't have a conscious. Their conscious mind isn't even activated enough to say, "Oh, this idea is no good," because
Mm.
like, oh, that idea, where did that come from? Oh, it's ingrained in them, and 25 years later, they're wondering why they don't feel like they deserve that magical life that Cindy and you were talking about. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's where I like to start too, is right there.
Mm. Yeah, this is great. Is there any specific person who you've worked with? I know you can't give specific names or specifics of the situation or anything like that. But is there any really moments you are proud of working with clients? Something that they overcame, and you can share. Something that you've caused in someone's life. Is there anything like that you can bring to the table, or being a little? Yeah, I see you guys looking at each other.
We'd have to start alphabetically or not. For me, I this one person that I told him, I want you to start with I am worthy, right? And he looked at me and he says, "Oh, I don't. I'm not going to be able to do that."
Mm.
It's so we figured it out, just rough math. That if he told himself 10 times a day he didn't deserve happiness and stuff, we figured it out to 86,000 times at the year he was at that point. He had told himself, I don't deserve, right?
Wow.
So I looked him in the eyes and I said to him, "Well, you know what I want you to do now, right?" And he says, "No, I can't do that, right?" But he did. He just started the process uh, of doing that, and now, like, he's blossomed beyond anything I could have ever thought. Like, yeah, he's way up there now. He's got his life in order. Yeah, it's, you know what, it brings a tear to my eye that, and I'll never take credit for it. When they say, you did this or you did that for me, I'll say, hey, no, I might have pushed you or dragged you or poked you, but you did it all, because they do it all, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so nice to be able to see people change right in front of your eyes, and we have many clients like that.
Yeah, they're like, I always tell them they're miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when they've come from a place of despair and suicidal and killing themselves using substances to uh, being sober and just having an amazing life and happy and spiritually growing. Like this man, literally, he's a teacher now. He
Mm.
could be doing this. He has come so far, so it's beautiful, man. Yeah.
Is
So.
anyone too far gone to be able to turn things around? Have you ever experienced that, or would anything stop someone from being able to own their power and step back into their greatness and discover that magic within?
I believe that if a person really wants it, they will do whatever they can to find it.
Yeah.
There I have had work with people where I've thought to myself, I have no idea where to start. I don't know. Like it was just so encompassing. But my all I did was I loved them. I
Mm.
just gave them compassion and warmth, and they felt like someone in the world cared for them, and that gave them the strength to keep moving forward. So I think there's no one worth giving up on. And I would just tell them, you can do this. Don't give up. And sometimes having someone else believe in you helps you too.
Yeah.
So and sometimes people have a lot of really major struggles that they have to work through. So
Mm.
you know,
So
I
it's
believe that there's. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's got to be a willingness, a desire. The desire has to be great enough that they're willing to do something about it.
Absolutely. If they don't have the willingness, then it
Mm.
doesn't matter how good you are, what you have, tools you have. They don't want to do it.
Mm.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if they really want it, they'll do whatever they can. That's the person that will, overcome a lot of stuff that we wouldn't actually think they could.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
yeah.
So powerful. So what is your vision for the magic within the book and the community that you two are creating? I think, Alan, I may have asked you something around this last time we had a conversation, but Cindy, I'd love to hear from you and what's your vision? What are you excited about to be creating with this platform?
Well, right now, the biggest thing Alan and I noticed in our own growth, because we're always growing and
Mm.
learning. That's just part of who we are.
Yeah.
And we were at a point in our life where we were just, middle income people, going to trainings and learning as much as we could. And sometimes we'd go to a training and we'd be like, oh, I want to do more. And
Mm.
then to move forward, you'd have to have 30 grand in your pocket
Mm.
or some crazy amount of money that we just didn't have. So we wanted to create a service that people of like all financial status could engage in.
Yeah,
So we've actually, yeah, we've created like, well, our books are number one, so they're quite reasonable. You can buy them.
totally.
But then we have online programs that people can buy, and they can do their own study at their own pace at home,
Mm.
which gives them a lot of information. So they're reasonable that people can do that. And then we have like kind of different levels of coaching, but our whole goal is for people from, each end of the spectrum, people who want to really do, really dive into their stuff and, are open to spending the money to do the coaching.
Yeah.
That's there for them too. But we want to help masses of people. We don't want to just a small amount of people. We want to help as many people as we can. So that
Mm.
was our thought, and putting that out there is we want to help anybody that wants it,
Mm.
and not to them to feel like, they can't afford it or whatever that is. So that's our goal, is to
Yeah.
help as many people as we can, because we think our message is important, and sometimes it can save lives. So yeah.
That's gold. So you wanted to make it accessible for people, as many people as possible. And, you guys are getting on other people's platforms. You're doing the 12-hour marathon, greatest possible self. You're doing interviews with other people and just sharing this. And I think the strategic alliances is really what's going to make the difference for you guys. I know you worked with Robert J. Moore, who's an incredible human being, been on the show multiple times, just so inspiring, just like you two. And I think it's important to align ourselves. And you were mentioning tons of personal development that you two have done. It's like you're a product of the product, and that's why it works, because you've gone through the steps. You've done what it takes to get to where we are today. You had that burning desire. Now you want to show the way for everyone else who you can impact, who your message resonates with. That, let's say, Tony Robbins, his message may not resonate with. You two have your own energy, your own story that can reach people in a very unique way, and I think that's special.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Robert J. Moore has been instrumental in our lives as well. We have 2 books with him as well, and it's like you say, networking with great people like you and other people to help us get the message out to people that might be like I was that one day when I was hopeless. I didn't see a future like this at 16 years old, right? And we want to catch people before they get that, they go down that path, and then they can't come back, right? So for us, Cindy's right. You're right. We want to get the message out there, and that's our goal.
Beautiful, beautiful. What would you say is your biggest challenge in getting the message out? What's the big thing you're working on this year to make your message reach more people and impact more people? What would you say that is?
I think part of our problem is we're not marketers. We're the front line people. We're the ones with lived experience, skills. We want to get to do that, but how do we fill a room full of people to tell them, like, okay, you're fantastic, you're special, you're a miracle in this world, and to do self-care with you, and to bring your worth up, and to make you realize life is beautiful. If you look at life and you look for the beauty of it, you're going to find it everywhere. But if you're stuck in this place and all you can see is darkness, you're going to find that, right? So for us, we're not marketers. We're lost when it comes to marketing and these funnels, and it's kind of like they're talking a different language that I am. I'm talking English and they're talking Spanish, and they're talking and it's going over my head, and I'm thinking, oh man, I thought I was smart, but holy jeez. Yeah. So yeah,
I love what you
that's
said
our
though. It's like
problem.
you've lived this experience and you're on the front lines. You're out there sharing it, and I think the best thing to do is say, okay, who has these skills to get me in front of people so this message can make a bigger difference. And that's something we're doing here. And Robert J. Moore putting you into a book, impacting more people with that. So I think you two are on the right track. Just keep moving forward, keep doing what you're doing. It's very, very powerful. And I want to switch gears and talk about the word miracle. I think the word miracle is very, very beautiful. And I want to hear what has been one of the biggest miracles that you've experienced in your life. And we'll start with Alan. What's one of the biggest miracles you've experienced?
You know what? It's going to sound like I'm buttering her up and stuff like that, but actually,
Oh,
Cindy's my miracle. She thinks that I'm her rock and stuff, which technically, you know what, I might be a rock, but she's given me a lot of spirituality, something I was missing.
mm,
Reiki. She introduced
yeah.
me to so many things that I didn't understand, but I was doing anyways. And
Mm,
yeah, the miracle was our paths connected, and we're on this journey together. And the miracle is being able to help people to be able to make a difference in someone else's life. And
mm.
yeah, I think that that's what my miracle is.
Amen. Beautiful. I love it, Alan. How about you, Cindy? What's your miracle?
Hmm. Well, I've had, I have to say, I'm very blessed. I've had many miracles in my life. And it's hard to pick that one because, there's so many, but Alan has definitely been a catalyst for me. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the saying, when you meet somebody, they change your life. Well,
Yeah.
basically, I think that happened to both of us.
Mm,
We had what the other person needed at that time, and we just, like you said, we became a powerhouse.
yeah.
And we took our skills, and and because of that, we've created so many beautiful things that can create miracles for other people, like the ripple effect, you know.
Yeah.
So, just dominoes out there, and the two of us, we just have so much love and
Mm,
compassion, and want to help other people. So definitely, Alan would probably be one of the biggest things for me. But
mm.
it's also my children, and all of our children. We have quite a few between the two of us, and our family and friends.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
interesting because you can't really say like which one is better or worse. They're all their own special, unique miracle, and I totally agree with you on having that loved one. My girlfriend, she's a woman of my dreams. She is like has been one of the biggest catalysts to me stepping up, stepping into my power, stepping into my message and my voice, and making a bigger impact. Also recognizing my worth. I struggled a lot with unworthiness, and she's been such a powerful mirror to remind me how great I am, and to really like soak it in, not deflect it, not try to say, "Oh yeah, we are great, aren't we?" It's like the reframe, like, "Oh yeah, let's include
Yeah.
everyone." It's like, okay, just let it land, sit with it. Okay, thank you. And just really allow myself to receive that. That was a big challenge for me. Do you find that a lot of people have a challenge receiving gifts, receiving what they want in life? Is that a big block for people in your experience?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people we work with are probably more comfortable giving than receiving, and
Mm,
even when I give them a compliment, they deflect it
wow.
or go, and I always say, no, 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 I need you to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Please, like, hear it. This is a gift to you, and to learn to receive, because
Mm,
it's very important in life to receive. And so we actually took a training in the fall, and we had to do an exercise where you had to stand and face to face with someone you didn't know. We were all strangers,
mhm.
other than Alan, and we had to look in each other's eyes for, like, I'm going to say, a period of maybe 5 minutes,
Wow.
and stare into their eyes and tell them with your eyes you love them. And I'm
Mm,
telling you, that was even like for me, it was a really hard thing to do, but that was a really good way to learn to receive. just that love from that person, right? And people were crying. They didn't know how to handle it. It
Mm.
was actually quite impactful.
Mm.
So
Powerful.
yeah.
Um, I'm curious, what is your perspective on balance and having a balanced life, and like how that relates with self care and those kinds of things? We'll start with Cindy. What's your perspective on balance?
I think balance is very, very important. Because if the person's working all the time and they don't have any downtime, they're gonna completely burn out and they're gonna get frustrated. It's really important to have that work time and that me time, whether it's meditating or bubble bath or going out with your girlfriends or male friends or whatever it is. Balance.
Men can have bubble
It's
baths too.
that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Uh,
yeah,
or whatever that is, but it's really important to have that balance of work and play and that me time and
Yeah.
family time and all the things that are so wonderful in life, to balance them all out, or you will end up you know having difficulty. I know for me, it's been a challenge because Alan and I both work at jobs full time, and we come home at night and we work on our business, and I have to really, we had to start really planning our days. This is how much time we're working on this, and then it's our time,
Yeah.
and our time as a couple, our own time, our time with our family, whatever it is that we need to do so that we're not burning out. And so it's all very important for self-care, absolutely.
Beautiful. Anything
So
else you wanted to add to that, Alan, on balance?
well, no, balance is the key. Like Cindy said, we have kids, and our priority is family first.
Mm.
But we realize that if we've drained ourselves with work and the business, we're not going to have anything to give to family, right? So we make sure that we take care of ourselves so that we're able to respond to whatever happens, or if an opportunity comes where we get time to hang out with the kids. So yeah, balance and self care is right there. If you don't have balance in your life, you have too much of something, that means you're lacking something else, right?
Mm. Yeah. Beautiful. Cindy, I'm curious, what is transformation? The word transformation, what does that mean to you?
hmm, it's a good question. That's multi-layered, but for me, it's like a complete change in a person's inner being,
Mm.
and they're and looking at the world differently. And literally, when they transform, their world transforms.
Yeah.
And so, for me, literally, going through what happened with my dad transformed me. I'm not
Mm.
the person that I was before his death.
Mm.
So it made me who I am today. And sometimes, unfortunately, it comes through a lot of pain.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if I could go back and have one more minute with him, I would. I give anything to do that. But the person I am today, I'm such a different person than I was then, and a much better and evolved person, that
Mm.
I would never want to lose that. So for me, it's just totally, it's like a new beginning and new, just everything changing and becoming a miracle. Really, it's like a
Mm.
miracle of change. So it's
That's
hard to
great.
explain.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It is. It is. Anything you wanted to add to
yeah.
that, Alan, in terms of your perspective on transformation?
You know what? You said it earlier in the interview. You had to burn it all down and come back as the phoenix.
Mm.
And basically, that's my idea of transformation: is just get rid of what you were and come back to who you want to be. Create
Mm.
who you want to be. I lived in anger and darkness for a long time, and I burned that person down, like you said. I poured gas on it to make sure it really burnt good, and then I emerged. I emerged the phoenix, better, stronger, and yeah, that's transformation. Let go of the past and create who you want to be.
Good. That's great. I love it. Very, very powerful, both of you. in terms of the final takeaways that you really want our audience to get on the magic within, on shifting, I know we didn't cover that too much, the word shift and why that's important to you. Let's do the final takeaways and what you really want the audience to get. We'll start with Alan. Why don't you start off?
You know what? I want the audience to realize how special they are. And you know what? The Wright brothers created a plane from their thinking, their imagination. They created a plane by thinking it, and they changed the world. Because look at the world now. We fly around in airplanes, 3 hours to Florida for us, 4 hours down to LA for us. But think about it. Two brothers changed the world with their thinking. That is how powerful you are, Chris. You're changing the world every time you do these interviews. You give us an opportunity. Cindy's changing the world. I'm changing the world. That is how powerful and how special everybody is. And that's why that magic within is for them.
Beautiful. And I love that. And I also want to add, we have this platform. You have a book. I have the 12-hour marathon. And I think one thing to always remember is, especially in the beginning, the ability to be special doesn't require a big following, doesn't require a lot of money, doesn't require lots of things. It's from the heart, from within. And you two really show that and demonstrate that and live that. And I think that's really special too.
Thank you.
Okay, so Cindy, how about you? What are your final takeaways that you want our audience to get?
I think the biggest thing is just never give up. Sometimes when stuff happens to people, it's just so overwhelming. They just don't know how to deal with it. And I always tell the people I work with, just never give up. Just get up the next day and keep trying and keep reaching out. And they have a saying in therapy, hurt people hurt people. And my whole goal, one of the biggest goals I have, is I want to help people heal so that that hurt, they can heal their own hurt, and then they're not hurting other people with the ripple effect. So they're learning better ways to be who they are and be those bright spirits that are within them, and to shine that out to the world and to help change consciousness. Because I really think that our world needs these beautiful light people that are glowing all around us. But when we're hurt and when the world is heavy, our light gets dull. So I just want to help people change their consciousness so we can all help each other and make this a better place for us and our children and our grandchildren. And so, for me, it's just don't give up. Just keep trying, keep putting one foot ahead of the other, and you're not alone. You just have to reach out. So.
Yeah, that's great. And I love how you said the consciousness, right? Because it's when we get hurt, if you're aware, if you're awake, you're able to powerfully transmute that energy that is generated, right? Like things happen. Okay, now how do we respond to it? And something might come up, something you might get triggered. And I think the more conscious we become, and I'm sure what you two have worked on and help your clients with, is how do you respond differently? You might initially get triggered and go on be fuming, but then you learn what's a better way to see this, to handle this, to transmute this, to process this energy and these emotions. And as you develop that practice, you become better and better. And I think that's a really big thing that people can get with you, is the ability to bounce back quicker, the ability to master themselves and really be the creators of their reality. So Alan and Cindy, I want to invite our audience to stay connected with you so that they can continue the journey. What can they do with you? How can they take the next steps? What can they do to continue?
They can connect with us on our website, themagicwithinseries.com. Leave an email with us. They can connect with us on Facebook, The Magic Within. And you know what? If they want to talk, our information's there. We do our best to get back to them the same day or maybe the next day. Yeah. But yeah, just reach out.
Is there any specific scenarios or situations that people might be going through that you two would be, prime candidates? Like, you definitely want to contact Alan and Cindy if you're experiencing X, Y, or Z?
Well, you know what? For us, it's life's life's hurdles, or life's what life's giving you. If you're struggling with that, if if you want to figure out what's holding you back from achieving something, your paradigms, your programming. If you're just tired of what you've gotten to this point in time and you want something different, it's all about change. For us, it's changing people, the way they think, the way they view the world. And like I had said to you earlier, if you're one of those people that has looked at life as hard, or life is cruel, when you look out in the world, you're going to see a hard and cruel life, right? But if you look in the world and you look for love, and you look for special people like you, and you look for the beauty in the world, you're going to find it, because you find what you look for, right?
That's
you
right.
see what you look for. Life, when people look at life, they it's not what they see, it's them, it's what they're viewing of the world. It's not that's not life. If you're looking for positivity, it's out there.
Yeah, everywhere.
If you're
Everywhere.
looking for negativity,
Yeah, you're gonna find it. If you look for negativity, you're definitely gonna find it. And Alan, Cindy, you two are
exactly.
such inspiring human beings, and I'm really grateful to have had you here. If you're listening or watching this and you got tons of value, like I know I did, and just getting those reminders, those soul, like, I feel like you guys are calling to people's souls, like, hey, we know you're there. We know there's greatness. We know that magic is within you. It's time to ignite it. It's time to unleash it. It's time to shift and step into that greatness. And you two are the perfect people to help them do that. So if you're listening or watching right now, go to the magicwithinseries.com, send them an email, go to their Facebook, Magic Within Series, like, just find them and get a hold of them, because you two are doing incredible things, and anyone who works with you is blessed. So I really, really appreciate you coming on here, sharing with our audience. You're amazing human beings. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chris. You are an amazing human being yourself. We greatly appreciate your love. Thank you, brother, for all your help.
Absolutely. I love you both. We'll see you soon, okay?
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.